Hello everyone. Welcome to Dr. Rajkumar Academy. Welcome to the session on 22/2, 2023 guys. Now in this, the first issue, Nitish loses cool at farmer for speaking in English. Yes, there was a summit, and in that summit when the Bihar successful farmer was talking in English, the chief minister criticized and said this is Bihar, India, you should speak in Hindi. So, when we talk about all the North Indian states, mostly, they prefer Hindi and they try to prosper it. That's the reason they try to impose it when it comes to South as well. That's the basic fight that happens between Hindi and other languages. Just giving you an information that almost all the political parties at that level will be having this conflict. Supreme Court to hear Uddhav's plea against EC order today. Yes, Election Commission has a responsibility to tell to whom the symbols belong to, party name belongs to. But Shiv Sena has its own constitution in 2018, and according to that constitution, anything if it happens, internally they have to have elections, and based on that they have to come to conclusion. So Supreme Court has been approached by Uddhav Thackeray's family saying that Eknath Shinde and others are trying to take over the properties, bank accounts and all. So they want to hear it quickly. So obviously again election commission is in news guys. India Singapore link payment services guys is a very important one. So UPI payments, the phone pay, GPay and other things that we do, and fintech of Singapore, they are coming in collaboration with each other, guys, because of which, Indian people who are present in Singapore can use our UPI there and try to do transactions and all. It's first inter-country transactions agreement that we have. India Indian UPI can be used in Nepal, Bhutan, other countries as well. But but in these areas, that is Nepal, Bhutan, and all, they accept Indian currency as well. Because according to Nepal and Bhutan, their constitution or their bank itself allows us to keep some Indian currency. So that is fine. But when it comes to Singapore, which is completely other country where Indian influence is really less, even in that particular part, having such agreements is really good. Hizbul commander killed in Pakistan, guys. You see, the Hizbul Mujahideen commander, who is involved in several terror attacks in India, has been shot dead at point blank in Pakistan. This is a very big news, mainly because we are able to command and control. Because these are the terror groups who create fear, and it is unknown person. Tomorrow it may be seen as India has done it, but the point is such people being killed is very important, guys. Bengal CM fumes as Darjeeling parties call for Bandh. Not required, guys. Yes, guys. Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka to organize the first synchronized vulture survey in February. See, guys, vultures are the one which are migratory species, and they are not always present at one place. So, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala together they are planning to have a vulture survey where they want to report about the number of vultures that are present, right? Which are the three: Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary and the South and North Forest Divisions. this area would be covered, guys. Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary, contiguous to the tiger reserves of Nagarhole and Bandipur of Karnataka and Madumalai of Tamil Nadu, is the lone region where vultures thrive in Kerala. So guys, the place where we are all doing is the area where the three meets. As you are aware, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala has border. In that particular part, you have Wayanad, you have Bandipur, Nagarhole, and Madumalai. India needs a budget for its young, not required, guys. Disciplined discussion. Parliament is the forum where government is answerable to the people, not required, guys. Turn off the tap of urban bias in rural development. Yes, this is an article which is trying to say that most of us are focused upon, urban India's development rather than focusing upon rural development. And they are talking about certain issues in this particular thing. Now, the first thing, if you can see, the Jal Jeevan Mission is one such project which aims to provide access and adequate drinking water to all households in rural India by 2024. But when we look, the provision of safe drinking water is an important non-food factor. It will also help in sustainable development goals. Fine. In Tamil Nadu, states like Tamil Nadu and all, drinking tap water is provided in Kanchipuram, Ranipet, Kanyakumari, Vellore, Tiruchirappalli. They have all tap waters. This article is trying to say that urban areas are benefited, but rural areas are yet to be benefited. So the focus must be on developing the rural areas, guys. But it is specific to Tamil Nadu, so not so important. A new chapter in defense and tech. Yes, India is having relations with multiple countries, not only with Russia. We are having relations with US. We are having relations with France, Italy, all these things, and this has made India to be having a very good relations with US. So he's just talking about how in technology and defense, India and US are coming together and working effectively. Fine. So it's all about Indo-US historical relations. Nothing specific and nothing is in the context of what we are seeing today. So don't worry. Yes, this is the most important article which I see is NIA conducts searches to investigate nexus between gangsters and terrorists. Guys. It's a very, very, very important issue. See, guys, in internal security, you have a topic called as organized crime and their linkages with terrorism. Fine, I repeat, organized crime and its linkages with terrorism. Now, what exactly is organized crime, guys? Any crime, any crime according to the law done by two or three people together is known as organized crime. Please understand this. Fine. And when you are looking at organized crime, what is the problem that we are going to face? Is first aspect that everyone should be aware here is, see, there is a drug smuggler, and this drug smuggler will get the money, and he gets the money without government knowing it. So he has all the skills. Now you have another person who make fake passports. He is in contact with drug smuggler. They both will come together. They will be doing drug smuggling and passport activities. Similarly, there will be a gun smuggler who will be doing it. So now when all these groups are used by terrorists, terrorists wants to move from one place to another place, they need money, they control some opium producing areas and all, and most importantly they need weapons and all. all these come together, they would benefit the terror groups. So now what is happening in India, like, when we look at North especially, at least in 7 states, like, the NIA has done the raids, and according to these raids, what we have got to know today is that some kabaddi players and others are involved, and what they do is they go for extortion. What is extortion? They kidnap the child or something and ask for money, right? And that money is actually going to foreigners who are making it an organized one. It may be Dawood Ibrahim, or it may be some terror network which is trying to spread fear in India, and it is trying to collect the money and fund it. So this nexus has been broken by the NIA. Fine. Yes, next. So guys, we have something called as Quad, Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. It is in between India, US, Australia, and Japan. Guys, the four countries come together under Quad. Fine. The second most important thing is, initially India and US conducted joint naval exercise called as Malabar. Later Japan was part of it, and now Australia is also part of it, and Australia is hosting the first Malabar naval exercise. Fine. So that is very, very essential. Home Ministry asks center states to relieve IPS officers for central deputation. See guys, it is UPSC which will recruit, UPSC which is going to recommend them to the states, and they will be placed under state government for a while. After that, the same IPS officers will be taken to the central level and as secretaries and all, and they will help the central government in passing the bills and other things. So now the problem is state governments is not relieving, they are not sending the IPS officers soon, because of which Home Ministry is facing the problem. They are not having enough officers to deal. UK firms should be part of India's growth story. Like, several UK companies are willing to come to India, invest in India, and also ensure that their economy is also flourished. Ahead of UNGA resolution on Russian war, France lobbies New Delhi for vote. See guys, UNGA is United Nations General Assembly, which has 193 countries, guys. And this wants to pass a resolution saying that what Russia is having war with Ukraine is wrong. And for this, like, India last time abstained from voting. That means we did not go and we did not vote. But France wants India to condemn the attack. But as you are aware, Russia is our good friend. So India is not willing to take up any sides. Questioned on IT survey, UK government strongly defends BBC. Right? So IT rights, when it is being asked in the UK Parliament, they have told that we support BBC because we fund them. But the BBC also gets funds from others. Appointment of Shinde, all this is politics, guys. Don't worry into it. Yeah. Children have the last right to protect their genetic data. See, guys, normally when the couple has an issue, like, married people have an issue, the husband will tell, okay, this is not my child, you had some extramarital affairs and you got a child. At that point of time, like, the children DNA are being taken and they are going to test to see whether the child belongs to them or not. So Supreme Court, even in the media, social media and all, you might have seen in US and all, they say, okay, the child doesn't belong to the father or something. Like, but just remember, this is not the right way, is what Supreme Court is trying to tell. Like, genetic diversity or genetic data is a fundamental right to privacy, and it is never that we need to support. Fine, that must be the last thing. If no other option is left, then you should do it, because the child will undergo a lot of psychological trauma when he comes to know that it is not his father and all those aspects. Fine. Russia suspends the last remaining major nuclear treaty with the US. So guys, in between US and Russia, they have an agreement called as START agreement, guys. Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty. See, nuclear weapons, if we have more, US will have more, Russia will have more. Let's say US has 500, Russia will develop 501. Then US will develop 600, Russia will develop 601. It keeps on increasing. So they both wanted to discuss on START treaty, Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, according to which both the countries had agreed that they will reduce the nuclear weapons, and they have a cap, and the cap is like maximum cap. That means, let's say each country can have 500 nuclear weapons and nothing beyond that. So Russia is telling, okay, I won't cross 500, but I will not reduce, because I can't trust US. Tomorrow US may threaten me, so I should be ready for this. Again, there is earthquake in Turkey, Syria, guys. Actually, the plate boundaries, when they are shaking, sometimes for adjustment, repeatedly you will get earthquakes and all. Yes, HPCL, you are all aware that India is purchasing oil from Russia. HPCL wants to pay back the money, but it is very difficult for it, as many banks are telling. There are some restrictions on us to sell or to give money to Russia. It's like, whenever there is a sanction, the banks will be told beyond this limit you cannot have transaction with Russia. So the way they tell us, like, cash transactions and all are not allowed, the same thing happens. Here also the same aspect is being seen. Guys. We are not in a position to uh, send or give money to Russia. Fine. Just read the articles once that I am showing. Don't just see the video. It will be beneficial if you can just have a glance of it. Whenever you're free, if you're preparing for prelims, it's fine. If you're giving next attempt, just ensure this.